Hi people, Charles here again, your economic empowerment master. Today I want us to talk about the constitution, what binds the group together. But before we do that, I want us to recap quickly about what we've touched before. Remember, we started this by community mobilization, group members coming from within that particular community, people express willingness, and people who express the urge, the commitment to form into groups. We also talked about individual self-screening, that is looking into oneself and asking pertinent questions. For example, am I the only one who will be contributing to the group? If the answer is affirmative, then you cannot be part and parcel of a group. It means you are a lone ranger. You cannot be in a group. So you look at yourself internally, and you also look at the community and ask yourself, who can I come with and form a group of socioeconomic empowerment, that is voluntary saving and loaning. We also talked about now the group formation, and in group formation we say that now these like-minded people, that is people who are now fresh from individual self-screening and then coming together, these are the people going to form a group. It is more than one person. They have a common agenda, they have a goal, and they have guiding principles that will be guiding them within that particular group, and also guiding them in their interaction with other members of the community or other groups of the community. We also talked about group fund development, and in group fund development we talked about what members are able to save, and once they save, this saving, it should go into the loan kitty. This loan kitty will be going to several people within the group, and they'll be charged a percentage in terms of interest. Remember, we said 5 to 10% interest charge per loan that goes out. So this interest also comes and develops the group. We also talked about members coming together, saving some money, and then buying, for example, cereal, for example, maize, when the prices are low, and anticipating that they'll sell it at a higher price when the prices are higher. This is also forming part of the group fund development. Remember, we also talked about fines. Fines that, for example, somebody absents themselves without apology, they are charged, for example, 50 Kenya shillings. That also goes into the kitty that will be able to be loaned out. Then we talked about why people loan, why people save. That is, people save to guard against or to protect themselves for the unforeseeable future. For example, as a child is sent away from school, for example, a child gets sick, for example, you want to travel somewhere, so then you go and take money from the kitty that you saved to take care or mitigate some of these emerging issues within the family or within the community. Remember, we also talked about why people loan. People loan because they want to take care of their family and household needs. So those are some of the reasons that we talked about. Now, once this group comes together, is it just a group that has come together with nothing to guide them or to bind them? That is not a group. That now forms what is called a gathering. Now, for this group to be qualified, for these members of the community to qualify as a group, then they must have a constitution. So remember, the constitution are a set of rules, there are a set of guidelines, and there are also conditions normally written that will guide and shape the functions of the group. It also has in it rewards for people who perform well in the group, and it also has punishment areas for people who don't go by what is in the constitution, in the binding agreement that people come together and write. Remember, it is not written by anybody out of the group. It is the group members who bring their ideas together and say this and that is the way we want ourselves to be governed. So remember, it is something that binds, that glues together the members for onward a transaction in their groups. Now, why do VS&L group needs a constitution? VS&L group need constitution because it is something that is going to make them work efficiently. It is efficacy. The group's efficacy is written in the constitution. That is why they need it. Number two, the group direction, its ideals and goals. It gives that group the direction that that group wants to take. The members sit down and say, this is the ideal direction that we want to do, what we want to take as a group. Number 3, it also keeps order and discipline within the group, because there are rewards and there are also punishment within the constitution. So there is a semblance of order and discipline within that particular community. It also gives the group a formal identity. Formal identity to mean that this is a binding document that even this group can get into contract with another group or another entity within the community or without the community. Now, what are some of the important points in a constitution? Just like yourself, when you want to do identification, you say your name, you say your date of birth, you say where you are found, and you also say where, what date you were born. So the same also happens in the constitution. A constitution must have number 1 data, group name, date of formation, location, and date of registration. This makes it very simple for even other entities that want to interact with the group to only go into their constitution with the Ministry of Social Services, because it is deposited there once you register the group, to see this is their phone number, this is their physical location, and these are the officials, and this is the contact person of that particular group. That is found in the data of that particular group. Number 2 is the objective. So objectives are set as a result of individual objective. I go into a group, I have my own objective that makes me want to be part and parcel of that particular group. So the bigger group objective has to be written with cognizance and taking into cognizance each and every member's objective within that particular group. So that a group that does not do its objective around individual member objectives, that is a group that is falling very soon before it is too late. So then the objectives must be linked to what the member objectives are. And how do you then form the objective of that particular group? Remember, it will be formed and linked to what members can afford to save. They are going to save 100 shillings every week. They are going to save 400 shillings every month, for example. It will also depend with the group fund size. How much do they want to build as a group? So that at the end of the day, when they want to go and do something as a group, or they want to share out as a group, how much do they want to build at the end of the day? Number 3 is what members can afford to borrow. Because remember, we also said before that members only borrow what they are able to borrow, and they are also going to borrow what is linked to their need. You cannot borrow what you don't need, or you cannot borrow money to go and do something that you don't need. It is an urgent need. For example, a child has been sent away from school because of book and a pencil. You borrow money for that. Now, it also depends on the time the group would want to share out their saving. For example, they can be able to say that in our objective, we are coming together as individuals to share out within 3 months from inception of our group, within 6 months from inception of our group, within 1 year from inception of our group. It also depends on the members, what members can afford to pay for with the savings shared. You cannot go and take something that you did not save. You only go and take something that you saved within that particular group. Because remember, it is each and every member's contribution to the saving kitty or to the group fund that will be shared out to the individuals. So group objectives are written based on individual members' objectives, and if that is not done, then that group might fall. And what are some of the things that you need to link it to? You need to link it to what you have talked about, the ability to save, the group fund size that they want to develop, what you are able to borrow, the time the group would want to share out, and what members can afford to pay for with the saving. So the objectives, remember, we said they must be SMART, that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. For example, you are going to say we are a group with an objective to assist every member start a small business by the beginning of January of every year. that is a group that is very specific. So let us move to the next slide so that we can also see what other things that are important in that particular constitution. So another key area in a constitution is membership criteria. You want to list out or want to evaluate or enumerate what you want your membership to be. So this is where you're going to define who can be a member. What do we do when someone wants to join when the group is already functional? So who can be a member? So you go to your list of having the list that came out after doing individual self-screening. And you say this and this and this and the people who you want to become members. Now, number two, some people can also come in the middle or once the group has started. So what are some of the areas, what are some of the issues you want to put across in your constitution to guide the group in admitting new members when the group is already in motion? The other one is committee and leadership. Remember, we talked about group leadership, and we said in group leadership that we have the chairperson, we have the secretary, and we have the treasurer. So who does it consist of? Remember, we talked about the three. What are their responsibilities? Then you list down their responsibilities: the chairperson, the treasurer, the secretary. Then how are positions taken? What are you going to do so that individual X becomes the chairperson? What qualities should they exhibit so that they are qualified for what? For that particular position. So how long is the term? For how long are they going to serve? It is a group that is going to last for only 1 year. Do we say that members of the committee or the leadership are going to only have a term limit of, say, 3 months? That is a quarter. Or 4 or 6 months. Then you do another election for leaders. That has also to appear in the constitution. The other one is election procedure. For these people to take office, what are the procedures that the group need to go through? So you ask yourself, how many members must be present? That is quorum. Who presides or coordinates? Mostly in Kenya here, the person who presides or coordinates group leadership election is the Ministry of Social, representative from the Ministry of Social Services. So how long is the nomination of candidates and actual elections? For how long should the candidates campaign within the group members so that each and every group member now know that is the quality that we need, this is the person that we need for that particular position. And then when exactly is the election done after nomination? That also has to be there. So the meetings also forms part. You must be able to write in your constitution how your meetings are going to be done. The time that the meetings are going to take, are they going to last only 30 minutes or 1 hour or 15 minutes? The duration, after how long are we going to be having our meetings? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Is it bi-weekly? And the attendance. Who should be there? Or must all members be present for group activities to continue? What guides the meeting in that particular order? Then the other one is savings and loan fund. So how much are the contributions? Remember we said that. How much are the contributions? When and where are they collected? When and where are they collected? So when could be every first Sunday of the month. Every second Sunday of the month. Where? At member X place. What is the purpose of the saving? Why are we saving as a group? Are we saving to share out to individual members to go and start their IGS, or are we saving for us as a team, as a group, to go and do one individual group economic activity? So types, are they productive loans? Are they social fund, or both? Is the group going to be doing either social fund only, so that we take care of social issues that bedevils the individual member within the group? A spouse has died, a child has died, a child is sick, a spouse is sick, a member is sick, or something like that. Or are we also going to do productive loan, so that by the end of the day we give loan and we expect interest to come to cater for members? Or are we going to do both? Mostly in the groups that we have facilitated, we encourage them to do both so that they have on one end the social fund and then on this other end the productive loan fund. Now, within which time frame do they have to be taken to the bank? If the group is still not doing active loaning, where is their money kept? After how long after collecting this money should the group take the money to the bank? Where our money should be kept? Is it in a group member's house? Is it in a safe somewhere? Is it in a bank? What happens in case of lost money? What do we do if our money is lost? Do we go to the police? Do we go and pick the person who was responsible for holding our money? Do we go to the house and pick chairs and sell and recover our money? That also has to be there. When shall dividends be paid out? Is it after every 1 month? Is it after every 3 weeks? Is it after every 1 year? You have also to stipulate that. Will all the savings be paid as dividends? At the end of it all, what you call a cycle, could be after 6 months or after 1 year. Are you going to pay all the savings as dividends, or you are going to hold part as a group so that in the next cycle you start with that? Another one is loans. You must also do in your constitution how you are going to manage your loans. So who is eligible to borrow? Who is eligible to borrow? Is it a member A who has saved this particular amount of money that are eligible to borrow, and not this one who has saved this amount of money which according to the group is not enough to warrant them to be given loans? At what point should loans be given? Is it in every meeting, or is it after 1 month after doing 2 meetings or after doing 4 meetings? How much of savings will be used to give loans? Are you going to use all the savings to disperse to all members to go as loan and attract interest, or you are going to take 50% of the saving and give it out as a loan fund for the members? Normally, I advise that all the money that has been saved be given out, because this then attracts more interest to develop the group fund further than giving percentage in terms of the saving to go to loans. So, how much interest will be charged on loans? Remember, we said between 5 and 10%. Loans are repaid after how many weeks or months? Here also you must stipulate that when you are meeting weekly, are you going to be giving weekly loans which should be returned weekly, or you are going to be giving weekly loans which are going to be returned at the end of the month? You must stipulate that very, very carefully. What do we do when a member has family or marital problems? That is now where the social fund comes in. So if there is a problem within the family, they have lost someone, or they have a marital problem, issues around marital issues within the home, what do we do as a group to them? Do we give them some money to go seek for psychosocial counseling somewhere from the group, and how is it returned? Or it goes like that as a social fund? How much can one borrow? Does it depend with the amount of money that they have saved individually, or is it open? What happens to savings contributions once the lending starts? Do we give it out? Remember you said, do we give it out all, or do we do a percentage? How do members repay, monthly or what? That will also be able to be written down carefully, that we are giving you money and you are going to return our money with 10% interest after every week or at every meeting time. That is weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Do we repay interest at the same time when we return the loans? I always advise that that is the correct way to do it. Any money that has been loaned out must be returned in the next meeting date, and plus the interest of that particular amount of money. What happens if members fail to repay? What are some of the penalties that we must put in place so that a member who doesn't pay loan, then they're able to do what? They're able to be deterred from taking more loans next time, so that they accumulate a lot of loans in terms of the group fund. this will not develop the group. Now, what I normally advise here is that the loan is rolled over and another 10% on top of the principal amount that was loaned, the interest that was supposed to be paid, you again roll it over and charge another 10% on it. So that at the end of the day, then this member, when they will be able to pay in the next meeting, then they bring their principal amount plus 20% of that particular loan. This has really helped in deterring members from defaulting loans. What is the security on loans? Do we have anything to attach? For example, remember we said if a member doesn't pay, do we have in our constitution somewhere stipulating that we are going to go to their house and pick, for example, their share and sell and get equivalent of our money that they are holding to go to the group? We'll go to the next slide and then we continue from there. So how big should loan amount be? How big should loan amount be? Normally I tell groups that it will depend with the individual need, but groups may vary, so they may have a loan appraisal team within the group. So you're also going to write who appraises the loan and what is needed for the appraisal to go through. But normally I say, like I've said before, I encourage groups to allow the members to borrow money that is going to meet their needs. So it is them speaking to the entire group that today I want to go and buy a crate of eggs to go and put it in my kiosk to sell at a profit, and then I will bring that 320 shillings plus 10% plus my normal saving in the next meeting. So I normally advise like that. So you also need to do penalties and fines. You must stipulate clearly what are the penalties or fines that group members will be subjected to. If, for example, in which cases and how much. Absenteeism without apology, 500 shillings, for example. Absenteeism, just pure absenteeism, 1,000 Kenya shillings, for example. Unexcused absence, excused absence. What is a valid excuse? You must also do that. You must define which areas, making noise in the group when the transaction is on, picking calls when a transaction is on. People must be fined instantly because that money goes into the group fund development, which is also available for loan. It shouldn't be punitive, but it should be something within the range that the group members have sat and talked about, dialogued about, and agreed upon. Another one is how are conflicts managed by the group? Remember, where two or more people are gathered, conflicts are abound. Even if they have the constitution, even if they have common shared goals, conflicts are abound. So how are conflicts managed? Who must be informed first? Is it the chairperson? Is it the treasurer? Or is it the secretary? Or is it the whole group when they are meeting? When should a meeting be held to iron out such issues? Mostly I advised that the sitting that irons out all issues, not only conflict issues, all issues arising in the group, to be held or to be ironed out at the time of the meeting. So who should be at the meeting? All members. I advise that all members should be at the meeting to listen and give wise counsel towards mitigating conflicts that can come in the group. So separation, dissolution, dropping out. What happens to savings, interest, and penalties in case of misconduct, incapability, resignation, relocation, a member withdrawing? You must write down, like we are dissolving the group, what should happen? A member is relocating from the area, the community, going somewhere. What should happen? Should they just continue remotely, or should we now stop and give them back their savings plus the interest that accrues that belongs to them? A member is expelled from the group, summary dismissal. What do we do? Do we not give anything, or do we just give exactly what they were able to save at that particular time without interest? That also has to be written. Then amendments, the last one in the pack, amendments. When do we make amendments? How many members have to be present? If at all the constitution is now not able to guide, is now not able to chaperone the group into the next level. What should happen? What are some of the amendments depending on the times of that particular need that arises? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for watching. Thanks again for your time, for your patience. I know you are enjoying. In case of any question, go to the comment section, leave us a question. We'll always be glad to communicate back. So, share button, like button, subscribe so that this message reaches more and more people. Thank you. Till another.